Dah start record ke belum? Okay, already recorded. If you open the week 4 job application process, the latest instruction for assessment 1 has been updated. Therefore, in our class next week, I will discuss with you the marking scheme, the instruction, as well as additional information to take note in the production of the video CV before you do the final submission. This week's lesson, we cover on how and what you should include in a CV or a resume. The reason is because whatever you learn for this week will be used for next week's class, yeah? Okay, after you have opened the notes on week number 4 on the CV, a CV, the example can be found in your ELIP page. I have provided 2 samples of a CV that you all can take a look. There are 2 formats, but the design information is the same. What you see here, ladies and gentlemen, with the poor quality image taken with a simple Android phone, not using an Apple phone, is a screenshot of a CV. This is a CV written by someone by the name of Muhammad Farhan Iman Nazir. And just one glance, you can see that in this CV, there is the name of the person as well as the home address and other details. There is also the objective, the courses taken, the honors, education, and also experience. If you compare that to the other CV, you will also notice the same similar feature like the name of the person, the career information, education, work experience, and so on. Both of them, they are the same. It's just that how the layout and also the design used is different. These documents, ladies and gentlemen, they are called CV and resume, are just about the same thing. However, a CV is the literal translation for the course of your life. And it is an academic diary that contains all your experience, certificates, and publications up to the present time. It needs to be constantly updated, as in every year, depending on what have you achieved, accomplished, or participated within that year. And it can normally be more than 1 page in length. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, people think of CVs and a resume as 2 different documents. The purpose is actually still similar and the same, depending on which part of the world you are at. Let's take a look at some of the features that can tell the difference between the 2 documents, starting with a CV. A CV can be between 3 to 4 pages in length. And it is used mainly related to academic applications, meaning that normally you use a CV for academic related position, and also you use it to apply for a scholarship, okay, beasiswa. And You also use it when you want to apply to study for a PhD, okay, your postgraduate studies. The CV can be universal in nature, as it can be updated as you move up your career. Therefore, a CV is not only merely used to get a job, to get a scholarship, or to further your studies. It can also be used for your promotion, okay, kenaikan pangkat. That is in contrast to a resume, in which it is short and brief, usually in one page. These two documents which I've shown you here is an example of a resume, where you can see it is only one page in length, but packed with details about the individual. It can be used to apply for diverse jobs in diverse number of fields. So besides education, you can also use a resume for marketing, sales, engineering, event management, animation, and just about anything. Besides that, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you write a resume, it has to be created or at least customized for each job you are applying for. In other words, for a CV and a resume, both of them have to be customized basically, yeah? Both of them have to be customized, and the skills in particular for the job you are applying for, try to match it with what the employer is looking for. For example, if you want to apply for a job as an interior designer at Alpha Design and Construction Sendirian Berhad, take a look at the job requirement. And one of the important skills here is to use AutoCAD, 3D Max, V-Ray, Revit, and so on. These are the kind of information you need to include in the CV. And most importantly, you have taken courses at university that develops such skills, okay? You need to make sure that the skills that the employer looks for, you also have training in those skills. If you don't have training in those skills, you may have to delete some of the requirement the employer is looking for. Otherwise, you will be in big trouble. I have heard a case where the student in the CV says she can use Microsoft Excel. And during the job interview, she was asked to demonstrate the use of Microsoft Excel. She was asked to use the sum function, and she was not able to demonstrate that, and she did not get the job. In other words, if you don't have that skill, don't put it in the CV. Only put that you have training, so that if they ask you to show you how you use those skills, you can show them how. Moving on. Resume has a bigger focus on the professional achievement rather than academic, which means that it focuses largely on the skills, okay? It focuses largely on the skills that you have obtained through your experience, and also on-hand application. However, if you take note here, these slight differences are only applicable for the United States. And in countries such as the Europe, a CV is pretty much the equal to a resume. We go on into detail on the differences in each region. In all European and the UK, Ireland, and other European countries, as well as New Zealand, the term CV is used to describe the equivalent to a US resume, which is basically a short targeted document to apply for a job. The word resume are not used in those said countries. There are only minor region-specific region differences between New Zealand and European CV and the American resume. However, in Australia and South Africa, CV and resume are synonyms, okay? So they are the same. They are synonyms that are used interchangeably. In fact, one time class, the UK pretty much control 2/3 of the world, yeah? They control all the way south, all the way down south to South Africa, Australia, and also New Zealand. And they still use CV there to refer to resume. Both of them still stand for a brief 1 to 2 page document. However, in countries, in certain South Asia countries, such as in India and Bangladesh, they require to include gender, race, ethnicity, and marital status, as well as expected salary. So whenever you have to include expected salary, make sure that you do a research. Make sure you do a research on how much you should be paid, yeah? And normally in countries like India and Bangladesh, they don't use CV or resume, but instead they call it biodata. To sum up, a CV is used primarily in the UK, Ireland, Europe, and New Zealand. And they don't even use the word resume. The word resume is largely used in the US and also Canada. However, for both CV and resume are used interchangeably in countries such as Australia, India, South Africa, and most Asian countries. And it is said that resume is more commonly used for jobs in the private sector, while a CV is preferred for public service position. But again, this is something subjected to different variances and requirements set by the employer. In Malaysia, I can tell you for certain, if you work in the education sector, you will use the term CV. But anywhere else, non-education sector related will use the term resume, even here in Malaysia. The following are the important headings, the major titles that you need to include whenever drafting out a CV. And when you look at the following sample CV, the following words are in uppercase letter, such as objective, additional courses, education, and experience. Similarly, in the other examples, you will see the same similar repeated pattern where the headings are all in uppercase letters. So headings are basically the big titles that you need to include when drafting a CV, which includes marital status, referees and references, employment history, permanent address, education, skills, title, personal details, and so on. Ladies and gentlemen, the following which I am going to teach you are the information that you need to produce and include in the production of the video CV letter. Make sure that the sequence of information that you describe in the video CV is according to what you learned in today's class, writing a CV. Okay. Make sure you also take note that whenever you write your application letter, check with the employer. Do they want a video CV or do they want a written CV? If they want a written CV, met a stronger reason why you need to pay attention for today's class. If they require a video CV, then just give them the link to access your video CV. Although normally people would burn the information on a CD and submit that together with the application letter. But of course, contact the employer to learn and find out what they want. Do they want a CV, written form, or do they want the video form? Please hold on, I have a message here, important. This one regarding the masalah pagi tadi tu. Okay, nothing. Personal particulars. Personal particulars is your own information where you have to describe your name, your full name, yeah, according to your IC, your current home address. It doesn't have to be according to your IC home address, but it should be your current where you're currently staying at, yeah, so that whenever they send an When they send to you the interview letter, they will send it to the place you are currently staying at. Make sure to also include other relevant contact information such as your phone number and email address. And it is optional for you to include the date of birth and marital status. Ladies and gentlemen, if for those of you who may have a spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, if they work as a doctor or even a nurse, sometimes this particular field, this one is not related to CV, sometimes in this particular field, they are normally required not to be pregnant during the training. Okay, doctors and nurses in particular, they cannot be, especially female, they cannot be pregnant because it's not allowed due to risks the children might face in the middle of the training. Because whenever you work in a medical field, you may be exposed to the person's illness, whether it is blood or other kinds of bodily fluids. And if it comes into contact with a pregnant doctor or a nurse, it may have an impact to the unborn child. So to protect them, normally they will look for applicants who are single or they are not pregnant. But that is only applicable for those for women in the medical field. Some companies also, ladies and gentlemen, if they need you to travel a lot, they need you to go outstation frequently, they also will consider those who are single compared to those who are married with children. Because those who are single and not married, they can be instructed to travel whenever the company requires them to do so. While those who are married is a bit difficult because of their home commitment. I'm not trying to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, to wait for the opportunity to get married. It's just that I'm just letting you know in advance what to expect in your future career in selecting the job that you want to work for. All right. If you don't want to be subjected to these kind of rules, then make your own company. It's even easier that way. All right. And judging from the situation in our country, I would say opening your own company and businesses will be much better. After you have included the personal particulars, the next heading to include is the career objective. The career objective, when you produce the video CV as well, it must be just one sentence in length. I repeat, ladies and gentlemen, career objective must be one sentence in length. In the career objective, there are 3 important key points to include, which is number 1, what you can do. Normally, for what you can do, you should describe your degree. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, you can see in the example, a position in marketing management. And as you can see there, marketing management can be a degree program. You can also choose to write something like a position with a degree in marketing management. Or you can write down a position with a degree in animation, a position with a degree in event management. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that even if you are a second intake or you registered for this class late, if the class starts at 10, you better be online by 10 o'clock, yeah? Do not be late. This goes out to the student who just enroll in the Microsoft Teams. as well as a reminder for the rest of you who have been here since week 1. All right. Please ensure that you are disciplined at all times. If I message you on Teams, make sure you reply to me so I can take action immediately. Yeah. Okay. Sorry for the slight detour over there. As I was saying, you start by first writing. You have a degree in whatever field it is, and then the scope of your expertise. The scope of expertise means the skills that you possess. And lastly is how you can contribute and benefit the organization. How you can contribute and benefit the organization is depending on how you use those skills. In this case over here, the scope of expertise would be 5 years of sales. And then how does this person contribute? Add value to operations. You will see a similar pattern in the other two CVs here. In which, first of all, what you can do, seeking a challenging and dynamic career in chemical and process engineering. Okay. And the scope would be petrochemical industry. And how to contribute to the organization is through the intellectual growth and career advancement. You will see the same similar pattern over here. To utilize my knowledge in biological science, that is what the candidate can do, followed by communication skills in public oratory. Public oratory is public speaking. An interest in conservation program with National Geographic Channel. So that is what the candidate can do. And how does the candidate contribute to the National Geographic Channel? Working with diverse talents and multicultural workforce. So that is how she plans to contribute. After you have written the career objective, the next thing to include would be the education, ladies and gentlemen. When you include the education, it must be organized in a reverse chronological order, which means that, as you can see in the yellow colored text, the first thing you need to mention in your video CV or write the CV is your degree first, and then you specify the name of your degree, okay, like degree in arts management, and then you finish from 2019 until 2021. Okay, why do I put 2021, ladies and gentlemen? The reason is because you remember the instruction for your assessment 1. It says that you are recently graduated, remember? Therefore, you have to indicate that you finish your studies in 2021. Although I know that you started your degree probably last year. Okay, probably last year or this year, And then indicate the name of the institution, in this case, UNIMAS. After you mention your degree in UNIMAS, you need to mention whether you have obtained STPM, matriculation, diploma or foundation. Make sure that STPM you state in your video CV is in English, yeah? In English. I purposely put this one in BM because I want you to go and find out the English term for STPM. And then indicate your matriculation, your diploma, and your foundation. The specific name of your matriculation, is it life science ke, physical science? And then if you have a foundation, is it foundation in law ke, foundation in accountancy ke? And the year can be subjected to change depending on your actual qualification, year of completing that study, followed by the name of the institution. Okay, so nama sekolah apa or nama college tu apa. Make sure to indicate that. Follow by your SPM, which is you don't have to put name. Okay, SPM, as you remember, SPM stands for Sijil Pelajaran in Malaysia, or in English, Malaysia Certificate of Education. When you indicate your SPM qualification, it should start from the year Form 1 until Form 5. SPM should be the lowest level of education you put on your CV or the video CV. If you have PT3, UPSR, no need to include or mention that. Okay, PT3 or UPSR, no need to mention. You will also apply the reverse chronological order of writing in the work experience, extracurricular activities, and so on. This is just a sample on how it would look like. Yeah, you start first with UITM if you have a degree, and then if you have a foundation from UITM, include that, and then your secondary school. As you can see here, the first is a degree up until 2015, and then foundation up until 2011, and lastly SPM up until 2010. In your video CV later, you don't have to create this table. Yeah, you can basically remove the outline. The person who produced this slide did not delete the outline. I can't find it. Next is, ladies and gentlemen, after your education is to include the work experience. When you are writing the work experience, you need to apply something called parallelism in writing. We'll come back to that later. When you describe the work experience in your CV or the video CV, make sure it matches the one in the application letter, whether it is real or fake. You can also include your internship, industrial training, part-time or volunteer work, even though you work at your parents' restaurant or a shop. Okay. And besides that, you need to include your responsibilities for the position. And some of the things you need to include will be the name of the company or the employer, what was your position, how long did you work there, and your responsibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a sample on how it would look like. Although that you have no need to include this part. This part is actually not needed. This is the only important information you need to include under the work experience. Notice the words that has been highlighted in green, ladies and gentlemen. You start first off with the name of company and name of position, followed by the duration of employment. In this case, 2 years from 2015 until 2017. And when you write the details of the responsibility, they should be reported in past tense. Notice that each sentence is written in past tense. Wrote, facilitated, and provided. The reason is because they are all over. Okay, it's over back in 2017. This is 2021, so you should write them all in past tense as the first word. The first word in each of these sentences is called parallelism in writing. As you see in the green bowl, in this green color highlight, wrote, facilitated, and provided. They are all in past tense. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have participated in clubs such as badminton, scouts, Palapes, Dorotu, Reserve Officer Training Unit, PBSM, the Red Crescent Society, or the Police Cadet, include them as well under a different heading, which is called participation in societies, clubs, and also activities. When you write this section, make sure you pay attention to the year first. As you see here, the most recent is 2021. The older one is in 2015. When you are writing this one, make sure to indicate your position, in this case in green, okay? Position, member, followed by the name of the club, Lions Club International. And the second one, president of the UITM Creative Dance and Performance Society. For this kind of clubs or society, make sure you describe your responsibility. I'm sure you all might be you notice this. This one is in 21. Okay, in 2021. This year is 2021. Because you are still an active member in the present time, you should write the responsibilities in parallelism. However, you have to use ing. Okay, ing because it is in present continuous tense. Present continuous tense because you still do these activities. All right. But because you are a recently graduate from UNIMAS based on the instruction for assessment 1, that means all your relationship and involvement with those clubs are over. So use past tense. Besides clubs and societies, you may need to include your achievement. Achievement may be like you obtained a gold medal, Dean's List, or any one-off event participation. In these cases, you have to include the name of the organizer, the institution, and also the name of the award. The name of the organization is indicated in this like purple pink color. And is it different? Okay, this is the name of the event. And this is the name of the organizer. And the name of the award, in this case, a gold medal, all right? If you got a Dean's List, make sure to include it as well. And it must come together with a verb, yeah? The reporting verb like participated, attended, and also obtained. After that, ladies and gentlemen, you have to describe the skills that you got. And when you write down the skills in your CV or the video CV, make sure that you have some sort of a training. When you refer to those skills, make sure it matches the requirement from the job advertisement, and you have to write them using present tense. This is an example of the skills that you need to mention in your CV or the video CV. You don't have to include this column, okay? Just ignore that column. You need to just write down the verbs such as able, proficient, and also the action verb for parallelism in writing when describing your skills. Always refer to the company's requirement when writing and mentioning the skills. If they need people who can speak Malay, BM, and Mandarin, if you can speak all those languages, include them under the skills. If you still want to try your luck and apply for a position that requires Mandarin and you can't speak Mandarin, you have two choices. You can apply for the job, but make sure you don't mention you can speak Mandarin. And number two is the worst. Look for another job advertisement. Sorry, class. Okay. And the last thing you need to include, ladies and gentlemen, is called references. And the references are basically individuals whom you had professional working relationship with. And if you have no working experience, you can use your lecturer, deans, or academic advisors to be your reference. In this case, you need to include the full name, the person's position, as well as contact information. In your video CV or the actual CV later, you have to produce 2 references, yeah? And this is just as an example. The name, Mr. Amirul Ashraf bin Anwar. If the person have professor or dato in the name, make sure to include that as well, yeah? If stated, Professor Dato Dr. Amirul as an example. Otherwise, if the person doesn't have any, just put Mr. Followed by the person's position, senior lecturer, and the person's address. Okay. And then the email and also the contact number. In order to make a CV effective, you can also choose to include other details such as projects and volunteering. Make sure that it has a complete contact information and attractive layout. Ladies and gentlemen, the following details here you can read on your own because I have described them in this lecture. However, I want to direct your attention on this one, which is parallel structure in writing. Parallel structure, the definition is the repetition of a chosen grammatical form within a sentence. And good parallel structure improves the clarity of your writing. Whenever you write parallel structure, it has to be consistent. Okay, it has to be consistent when you express your ideas of equal importance in writing. It can also give balance and rhythm to help deliver your meaning. And you can use parallel structure in any kind of writing that you do, whether that writing is on and off the job. Like in this case here, ladies and gentlemen, this is example of bad parallelism because the word my is repeated 3 times, 2 times actually. And you see here, my education, my experience and ability to complete complicated projects qualify me for the job. The author of the incorrect sentence of the original text forgotten to include one more my. That's why in the correct version, you see that the word my is repeated multiple times within the sentence. This is just the basic idea on parallelism in writing. Yeah. All right. You see here. There is the verb prepared, but the second tak ada. And then the third one, it becomes recording. And then the next one is change. But the last one is correct. When you see the corrected version, you see the past tense prepared is still the same. And this time you added the author added the verb handle followed by recorded. Okay, recording becomes recorded over here. And then another verb is added, processed, change orders. And then the last one, maintain. Okay, I'm going to off the share screen for a while because I've forgotten to remove the last answer. Ladies and gentlemen, hello? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to try to give your answer for this particular question. Choose the sentence that has the parallel structure and include your answer in the meeting chat. You are all given only 5 minutes to finish this task. Read carefully and identify the parallel structure. Aisha Nazura has clocked in her answer. What about the rest? Amalina has clocked in her answer at B. Ikwan also B. Okay, very good everyone. As you can see here, look here, in A it says to make. However, for the second one, tak ada. But if you see B, you will see a repeat of to make with to write. In C, only to make. And then this is wrong because it's not parallelism. So you see here, another one to make, but instead, this writer puts down that I should write when it's supposed to be to write. Ladies and gentlemen, try this one. Choose the sentence that has a parallel structure. Aisha is the first to clock in the answer, as well as, yeah, Aisha is the first. B. How about the rest? All right, everyone. The correct answer here is, of course, B again. If you compare all the answers here, B only says using metaphors, examples, and personal experiences. A is wrong because you see here, there is the gerund using metaphors, but then this is another subject of a sentence. They give. They is a subject, give is the verb. And their personal experiences. You see here, there is another pronoun. And using metaphors doesn't come with a pronoun, okay? While on the other hand, if you see C is similar to A, there is the pronoun there in the sentence. But the word there doesn't appear before examples or using metaphors. It could have been correct for A and C if the author writes instead by using their metaphors, their examples, and their personal experiences. That would have made it parallelism. And for the last one, you see here, the word using is included, giving is there, but the last one doesn't have a verb. Doesn't have the gerund. The last one doesn't have a gerund, G-E-R-U-N-D. Maybe it would have been correct if the author write down providing personal experiences. So just by adding this word, it can be parallelism. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the class is not over yet. I want you to try and apply what you had learned and then use this job description, okay? Assume that you are all writing the word experience. Assume that you are all writing the word experience. Oh crap. Jawapan dah terdedah dah. Find something else. Okay, this one. I am going to copy and paste this text in your meeting chat. Ladies and gentlemen, I have copied and pasted the following job responsibilities in your meeting chat. Alternatively, I will provide to you the link to this job advertisement. And using that link, I want you to change the following text which I have highlighted here, and then make them all into parallelism in writing. Copy and paste your answer when done, when completed in the meeting chat. You may change or add some of the action verbs where necessary and required. Okay, you are all given 10 minutes to complete this task, and then whoever have submitted it, and I agree to the parallelism in writing used in the posted answer in the meeting chat, I will give that student's answer a like. You all have 10 minutes to complete this task. You may begin. Any QR attendance related issue will be suspended until further notice. Complete this exercise first, and then we'll come back to that. 3 minutes remaining. I will only continue the class when the answers are posted in the meeting chat. Start to post up your response in the meeting chat. Yang ni ada. Aisha, I think you copy and pasted my initial question, yeah? You did not provided the change for parallelism in writing. Please check back your posted answer. Hmm? There are 29 students and it has been 50 minutes past since I last gave you the task. And none has responded yet. Anyone dare to take my challenge and successfully get the correct answer? Siti Zainab, experience. The experience is okay as a verb, but the second one over there, documentation drawings, documentation is a noun, that's not a verb. Okay, what does Farizin says? Understand, correct? But the second one, to prepare, is not in parallelism, no Farizin. The third one is okay. Consistently bringing grade, no. Nope, still not parallelism. Okay, thank you Fazirin. Thank you for trying. What about the rest? Everyone, just try and post up your answer. If you have not finished it yet, just post it up. Okay, Louis Lance Anna Lenning is on the correct path. Help drive a consistent design. Prepared, handle, brought. Okay, this is good. Although the other two are missing, but yeah, it is correct. It is according to what I taught you. So for Erica, Louis there, I give him a like, yeah. The tenses for Rishi Nikan, the tenses and also some of the verbs is incorrect, such as the first one, to get. You should have written there, get a better understanding, and you should make it in past tense, got a better understanding, and then prepare should be prepared. Brings become brought. Harrison, I'm not sure what you're trying to copy and paste over there. Aduh. She way on. Understand, prepared, self-motivated. The consistently brought, you can just delete the word consistently. The last one is okay. This one is okay, but because it is not as accurate as Lewis, this one still needs to be improved a bit, yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to this one. So if I ask you to make this as a work experience, first of all, you need to indicate the verbs. All right. The following words which I have highlighted here are the verbs. Okay. So this one, if you have to put in a past tense, it becomes understood. And then this one here becomes prepared. And then this one stays the same, no need to change. This one change to brought. Past tense of has is had. Ability is a noun, so to make it a verb, change it to able. And that is how, ladies and gentlemen, you create parallelism in writing. You need to use it for your level. You need to use an online dictionary to help you identify if the word is a noun, a verb, or something else. That is how you create. That can help you to create parallelism in writing. Okay, so you are going to apply the same set of rules later when you produce your video CV, which we will cover in next week's class. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our lesson for today on CV writing. Next week, we will discuss in detail on the marking scheme used to grade the video CV, as well as additional instruction on that topic. You can always access the folder for assessment 1 in week 4 of the ELIP page. And you still have 3 weeks away before the submission. I hope by this point of time, your application letter is already complete. And please take note, I will not entertain any request as semak draft dulu. That is not fair. Okay, if I semak one draft for a student, another 34 will want to semak draft dulu. And by the end of the day, I don't understand what's the point I give you marks, because I dah semak draft dulu. Alright, so if you need to semak draft, ask your fellow classmate to check on that and compare. The classmate has to compare that with the marking scheme. See if it fulfills the required stated or not. Alright, so that's it for this week's class, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you all again next week. Assalamualaikum and take care.
Waalaikumsalam, Mr. Zainuddin.
Bye.
Thank you.
Sir.